Put in the comments what you think Eagle is gonna make on a dyno. Hey everyone, welcome back to CJRaceCars YouTube channel. Today we are doing a lot of the accessories up front. Taylor's gonna be doing the fuel feed line, which is something I really wanna touch on today. There's been a video going around the last 4 or 5 days or so with FuelTech had a car on our hub dyno that broke the hub dyno record over there. I think it was 5,300 and change horsepower. So a lot of people said that this car wouldn't make 5,000, we need to be realistic, etc. Not only will this make 5,000, but that car just made a little over 5,000. This is an even newer engine than that car with the same size turbo. So this car is definitely capable of making 5,000 plus to the wheel, which is insane. But also we wanted to touch on the end of that video, they mentioned that the fuel line was collapsing a little bit, starving the engine a little bit. So something we do, we've done on probably the last 4 or 5 cars, and it's also something we sell. It looks clean, it functions, and it can't collapse. It's a solid stainless fuel line that has Wiggins connectors on both sides. On a fuel tank, it has a dual O-ring Wiggins, so it slides over the fuel tank and then clamps. That also allows some movement, like 10 degrees or so, so it's not solid to where it could vibrate and crack. And then on the fuel pump, we make a billet deal that bolts on the bottom of either a Waterman or a aeromotive pump, mechanical pump. And that'll be a single O-ring on a fuel pump, single O-ring on the line. That way you can slide it on the bottom and it lines up. You're not trying to get both sides slid on because that's not really possible. And then it just has an easy Wiggins clamp on the top and bottom. So we'll go over all that. But main thing is I really want to touch on that because after watching that video and them proving that these cars make that kind of power, over 5,000 to the wheel, which is nuts. And wanted to touch on our solid fuel line that we do because they said at that point it was causing it to collapse the fuel line. So that's why we do this. But we'll go over that today. Danny's finishing some fire lines on the passenger side. Troy has the wing wrapped up. And moving to all the little stuff. We got a powder coat color picked out. So we'll be going to powder coat here soon. And we'll just show you what we got going on. Yeah, we just want to make sure we got enough room for the fitting here and here. So the hoses, you know what I'm saying? Because that'll have like a 90 or a 70 here. Probably. Yeah. But straight.
But then it's got to come like this.
Yeah, this will have like a 120 here. So it'll come down and that'll probably have a 90 or 120 there.
And it's got to clear this, whatever this fitting will be.
Yep.
And then that.
Honestly, as long as you put it like down like where you have it here, in line with that, we can slide the filter up and down as needed.
Right. Right. And then that oil filter deal is gonna, I'm guessing, probably be here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to go. It's gonna go on the outside.
On the outside.
Like behind that tie rod.
So somewhere about there. And it's gonna go.
Yeah, maybe over to the, there you go, somewhere there. But yeah, just put it directly in line with that fuel rail.
All right.
Up a little, perfect.
Make a fuel feed line. We put the fitting in the tank early in the build, and the fitting in the bottom of the pump is offset center, where we had put the fitting in the tank at center. So we're just gonna move that over That way we don't have to two-piece the feed line, because it is one solid bend of 1¼ inch stainless.
Take a pair of tin snips, you can cut the majority of it, and then you take one of them big sanding drums and just, you know, mark it out so it's nice, and take the sanding drum, sand to your line. Yeah, see, do that. No big deal. Not a problem.
Just do that.
Yeah, just do that.
3/16.
No, right now, it's a piece of cake. Ain't nothing to it. There it is.
Alright, you got it? Is that better? What? You fit? Yep.
Yes, sir. You look better.
I don't have the sleeve in there
That's all right.
because that was throwing me for a loop on getting the bottom piece of stainless to line up correctly.
So what you're going to want to do, you're not going to want this at 0 because the engine's leaning too, which you probably won't hurt.
Okay.
It could be up just a tiny bit this way. That way this side lines up. You know what I'm saying?
So you want...
Well, I would just go uphill just like maybe 1 degree. That way you split the difference. Each side will be 1 degree.
Because now it's roughly 0.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just rub a hair, and then you can measure from here to there.
Yeah.
And then subtract, cut that off this end.
Okay.
And then that'll get you close.
Yeah. And figure out how much of a gap here.
Well, it can move up and down as long as it's in there.
As long as it's inside that clamp, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
That's what that sleeve's for.
Yep. So I would start fitting it with it almost closed.
Okay.
That way, if you end up a little
Short.
open, you know what I mean? You're not too short. So I would start there.
So if anything, as it goes back, it needs to go uphill just a
1
hair.
degree.
Okay. At most.
That's where I would start.
Okay. About 2 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Get you good started.
Yeah. Because I've shortened it already.
Yeah.
That acts like it's still too long. Maybe not.
As Taylor's welding up the fuel feed line, I just wanted to go over a few things. We mentioned a FuelTech hub dyno video that's been going all over the place. That car made like 5,300 plus horsepower. And just to put it into perspective, basically that car had the exact same size turbos, so 98 millimeters turbos. And it has an MH6 that I think was updated, so it may be, it's pretty similar to this. This is an MH7, so this is the newest thing you can get, newest cams, newest head, newest everything. So the motor's similar, if not, this one may make a little more power. Same turbos. That one has an E-gate, so an electronic wastegate basically, and a charge pipe instead of on the headers, which I don't think is going to affect horsepower much. But put in the comments what you think Eagle is going to make on a dyno. it should make technically at least 5,300 and change. So really exciting. I know a lot of people kind of doubted the 5,000 horsepower because it does seem insane, but these things make a ton of power, and that's why they'll go big mile an hour. I think they've been 520s or 530s at 270 miles an hour. So these things are absolutely nuts. Put in the comments what you think he will make on a dyno, and we'll see who got closest.
Throwing the tin foil in to hold this hose in the back purge, and I try not to use tape as much as I can. The tape will leave a residue. Sometimes I have to. I'll probably tape up this end because it's further away from the weld. But the tin foil kind of lets the gas slowly leak out rather than plugging the hole completely and putting a giant hole, putting a giant puncture in it.
As you can see, Taylor got the stainless fuel line done. This is something we really wanted to go over this video because if you've ever seen a fuel feed line, sometimes they do run a stainless piece similar to this, but on both ends where it connects to the fuel pump and where it connects to the fuel cell is usually like a silicone hose here with just hose clamps. Or they'll run a lot of silicone hose, or you can run like an AN line. You can do a lot of different things. But in my opinion, this is the best way to go. We've also machined these. It's gonna be hard to see on video, but we machined these to where this fits inside of this fitting. So there's no step inside of here, so the fuel can flow really good. And in my opinion, it's the way to go. It can't suck closed. It doesn't have anything to irritate the fuel as it goes through there, and it's solid. The only downside is if you have, which we've noticed on the ProCharge cars, if you're trying to take the ProCharger off, it is kind of a pain sometimes to swing out of the way. We've got it on plenty of ProCharge cars, and it works. It's just not as easy as like a limp fuel line that you can just swing the fuel pump out of the way and move everything. So we got this done. A little bit more we got done in the car. As you can see, the turbos are back on Eagle. We had them off only because Danny was doing the firewall and they would have been in the way for the firewall fab. Now they're back on, getting ready to start the headers today or first thing tomorrow. Danny also got all the fire line done. We were talking about this in a few episodes ago about where we point the fire nozzles at. We got one down here that'll basically point to the fuel feed and the fuel pump area. It has 3 nozzles in one, so it'll kind of hit both of those. If there were to be an issue up here, it'll be at the base of the fire. We have 2 here that come from another bottle that point to the fuel rails in the injectors. Sometimes there's an issue with injector O-rings or whatnot, so we point 2 there. And then we have 1 in here that'll point right directly at Cletus in his feet. So the fire lines are totally done. Brake lines are 99% done. The only thing left is to come from the inside of the firewall to the remote reservoir. This is a really cool deal also. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but we make the canister that actually holds the brake fluid is inside the car. There's not a lot of room out there, especially with a turbo deal like that. There's very limited room on top of the master cylinder. Even on the ProCharge cars, because the Zoomy goes over, it's really hard to get fluid in there. So we make a remote mount master cylinder reservoir. So you just open this up and fill it from here, and saves you a lot of room on the outside. Troy has the roof off, and he's prepping all the seams where we have to weld. We're getting ready to weld the body for the final time. We will start mounting carbon front end and doors early next week probably. So a lot of this is coming together. He's prepping all these. We'll be welding the roof on permanent, the A-pillars on permanent. He's gonna start on the window lips. Hopefully that doesn't take 5 to 8, 10 weeks, whatever it took to do the deck lid lips. Just kidding. But also got the deck lid fit, all the Zeus holes in the deck lid. Got the puke tank cut down. A lot of you guys asked why the puke tank deal was like 3 feet long. It was just long, we always cut them down. So that's about where it'll be. Little titanium trim ring we made for that. That's done. The wing is done. As you can see, if you watch the last video, this was kind of just straight here. It wasn't finished, but this is what the finished wing will look like. Kind of similar to how we do most of our wings. This is like an outlaw style wing, so it's pretty long and it's pretty tall. If you're gonna run MPK, the rules are a lot different. The wing can only be about that tall, and it probably had to be a little bit shorter. So this is a bigger wing for outlaw stuff, like he'll be running extreme 28s, no time 28 stuff, 275 stuff, or Pro 275. He can run all this wing here. So another thing, I'm not sure if you can see on camera, but we do you can see these clecos here, and there's also 2 more holes here. This basically has a steel lip that we weld to the quarter panel on the inside. So instead of having this real flimsy, right now this has no wing struts, and you're moving the quarter panel at that point. Like, it's very rigid. So that's something we like to do, is attach it to the quarter panel, not just with wing struts and let it be flim-flamsy back here. This car at 250 miles an hour is gonna get a lot of downforce, and you don't want it trying to bend a wing. All right, everyone, that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.